Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
There is a second part to this problem, which is basically based on this only. Still we'll see. Okay, then it says that at a draft of it says that at a draft of 5.25 meter, at a draft of 5.25 meter, the vessel has the following half ordinates of water plane commencing from aft. Now you are given the half ordinates of water plane. Do you know what these are? Actually, I hope you are familiar by now with all these kind of terminologies. Half ordinates of water plane. Half ordinate of water plane is if you take any one water plane area, this thing. This is known as the half ordinate. So you say half ordinate of a water plane area. So this is one. So as you can imagine, as a water plane area keeps changing, or if the water plane keeps changing, or water line which we are dealing with changes, the water plane area changes, half ordinate of the water plane area changes. So this is basically what we call as a half ordinate of water plane area. Half ordinate of the water plane area. Okay. Now once you have, they are telling that they are giving the values of the half ordinates of water plane. So basically half ordinates of water plane will be given in terms of what? Means suppose I have to give something x half ordinate of water plane. So what will be x? Means what that question means is basically this half ordinate of water plane. What does this depend upon? For a particular water plane, what does it depend upon? It depends upon this distance.
Stations.
Exactly.
Station.
Exactly. Stations. Okay. Stations. So you will be talking about the half ordinates of water plane at various stations. So at various stations you will be talking about the areas. Now let us see what the table gives. You need the table. Yeah. So so it comes like this. Station and half ordinate. You don't have to do it probably, but we have to get an idea of what this is at least. 2, 14.5, 3, 15, 4, 15, no, 5, 14, 6, 12, 7, 8, and 8, 3.5. So basically what this means is that at different So at different stations 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. you are given the distances like this. 0, it started from here actually, because half ordinate is 0. So it started from here. 0, 1 is 12, then 14.5, 14.5, 15. Oh, this is the whole thing. This is a different kind of ship. Sorry. You can see that. Look, you can look at the half ordinate and tell what kind of, it's more like a water plane area is not like this. It's not a very large ship. It's most likely a small type of ship. Let me see if it's not given anyway. So it's looking like this. The shape is looking like this. So here the half ordinate is 0. So it starts from 0. It keeps increasing. 12, 14.5, 14.5, 14.5, 15, 15. Then it decreases again. It decreases again. The figure is a mess. I find it difficult to draw in this, but you get the picture, I hope. It increases and decreases. It increases basically, as you can see here, it basically goes up 12, 14, and then it comes down 8.3.5. So it's basically a ship that so it's basically a half ordinate which goes and comes like this. So this is the shape of the ship. So it's like this. So you are told the values. You take this down. You take the values down. I removed the values. I'll put it again. What is it? 0, 12, 12, 14.5, 14.5. Here also 14.5 and 15, 15, 14, 12, 14.5. Oh, there is only one 14.5. It's 15, sorry. So basically you are given a set of data like this. Now the problem, and you are also told to, just like last problem, where they made everything look a little more complicated. Just like that, here they are saying that forward of station 8. So this is going up to station 8. Forward of the station 8, there is an appendage second moment of area of 30 meter power 4. So beyond this, there is some second moment of area. Second moment of area of 30 meter power 4. Now what is the use of all that, we will see. So you are told that there are 8 stations, okay? There are 9 stations, sorry. 9 stations and 8 intervals. 9 stations from 0 to 8 and 8 intervals. And you are told that the length of the vessel is 240 meters. So obviously 8 intervals means each interval will be 30 meters. That is fine. So what you need to do here, you are asked to find the second moment of area about the transverse second moment of area. You are asked to find the transverse second moment of area, which is basically transverse second moment of area is the moment of inertia about which axis? Transverse second moment of area.
Axis.
Exactly. It is about the longitudinal axis, and that is what? It is the
centroid of water.
Exactly. It's not the centroid. It's what is the longitudinal axis called for a ship?
Central line.
Central line. Central line. Okay. The central line. That center line is basically the longitudinal axis. It is so when you have a ship, this center line is called is the longitudinal axis. So the longitudinal axis at the center is called a center line. So you have to remember that. So when you are asked to find a transverse moment of inertia or a transverse second moment of area, whatever it is, moment of inertia or area, for your cases, in case of this semester, I think maybe I don't know, in marine construction and welding you use differently or not, but mostly you are going to use the two terms interchangeably, so it's not a big problem. At any rate, you have to find these things. Let us see what you have to find. You have I'll put the station. So how will you find the second moment of area anyway? Transverse second moment of area. What do you need? We derived this in the last class.
Y cube alpha delta L.
Exactly, exactly. You need half y cubed. You need the cube of the half ordinate. So basically it comes like the station, half ordinate cube. Then you will have half ordinate cubed. Half ordinate cubed. Then the Simpson's multiplier and the function of second moment. So you will get function of moment, function of second moment actually. So you will get this. And Simpson's multiplier, how will you get the Simpson's multiplier? What are the Simpson's multiplier here? Means what are we trying to find here? What area is it? What area is in which direction? The moment of inertia is in which direction? Previously, the problem that we did in the previous section, previous class, this thing was basically to find the volume. There we used the vertical distances, which is basically the drafts. Okay, we found the drafts, and the drafts were multiplied with the half area. So the half areas were used and the drafts were used. But in this case, in this one, what is asked is you have the stations, okay, and the stations, and you are given the half ordinate at each of those stations. So what kind of area are you looking at? Where is the area?
Water plane area we are looking.
Yes, it is in the direction of the water plane area. We are not talking about anything else, not below or anything. It is just the direction of the water plane area. So for this, what kind of Simpson's multiplier means? Let me put it this way. Once you make this table, then it's very easy. Like this, if you make this, I'll write it like this. You will have 0 half ordinate is given as 12, 0, 0, 0, 12, 14.5, 15, etc. And half ordinate cube you will have to find. Simpson's multiplier will be what? That is the thing. What will be the Simpson's multiplier? Why is there a doubt? Where does 14241? It is just the same thing. It basically the station will have 1, this station will have 4, this station will have 2, next station will have 4, 2, like that, 4, 1, like the whole thing. So 2, 4, 2, 4, like this. You put the Simpson's multiplier here and then find the function of the first moment, which is half ordinate cubed into Simpson's multiplier. So with that, you tell me what do you get for this value? The sum of the function of the first moment.
Sir, 3686.75.
So how these answers always? That is the just this function of second moment, summation.
Yes, summation.
Or did you multiply it with something? Without multiplying it with something, it's not that. 49,000. No, not 49,000. 4 lakh. No, 49,782. Sorry. 49,000.
Okay, I did it wrong. I did the wrong thing while cubing. Sorry.
At least one person should get this.
So 49,825.
Slight difference. I don't know why, but that is okay. 49,000 if you get, then I'll let it pass. It's fine. So this is okay. So you will get that, and then now how will you get once you do that? So, now, how do you find about the center line? Look back to your expression and you will see that it is 2 by 3 h into 1 by or 2 by 3 into h by 3 into sigma function of volume, function of second moment. Sorry, function of second moment. Just look back. If you don't get me, if you get it, leave it. Is it okay? You can see very clearly this h by 3 is coming from the Simpson's multiplier. Okay, this h by 3 comes from the Simpson's multiplier. There is an h by 3 there. Now this 2 by 3 comes from the definition for it comes from the definition for it. Transverse, you just look back and see the expression for the transverse second moment of area. There must be a 2 by 3 there. I don't have the text with me, but that will be 2 by 3 there. Okay, just confirm it. You should be having IT as 2 by 3 into sigma function of second moment, or it's 2 by 3 into sigma alpha I yi cubed. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
It should be there. It's something I remember doing it in the last class. So this comes up, the function of okay. So this you have to do, and this will give you I about the center line, which is basically what we call as IT. It is the transverse moment of inertia or transverse second moment of area. Transverse second moment of area divided by the, it's basically the transverse second moment of area, which is basically the second moment of area about a longitudinal axis. About a longitudinal axis, which is basically the center line. Remember these terms: longitudinal axis, center line, all those things. Okay, so this basically gives you that. Now you are told, see, now you are told one thing, just to make some problems. So they're told that there is problem states like this: forward of station 8. So we had basically 8 stations in this. Okay. So we went from 0 to 8, there were 8 stations, and forward of the station 8, there is an appendage second moment of area of 30 meter power 4. So what you have to do is, if you are given something like that, just add that 30 meter power 4 to this. Moment of inertia can be added. As long as it's continuously kept, it can be added. So this will be this moment of inertia plus that 30 meter power 4. That's all. That gives you the total moment of inertia about the center line, transverse moment of inertia. That is all actually. Then suppose I want you to find BM, then what will I do? Suppose I want to find, I think I did BM. Yeah, we did BM. BM is equal to
I by delta.
I by del. Okay, it's del. Delta is the inverse thing, which is basically delta always stands for weight or mass, and del always stands for volume. So it is I by del. Okay, I by del. That is the expression for BM. Can you find that from here, for this problem? What I is it? See, first of all, that means I should tell you what BM it is. You have 2 types of BM. Okay, there is a BMT and there is a BML. This BMT is the transverse second moment of, transverse metacentric radius. Transverse metacentric radius. And BML is the longitudinal metacentric radius. Transverse metacentric radius. and transverse and longitudinal metacentric radius. So basically the difference is like this. If you see a ship like this, these kind of distances are talked about as longitudinal. Anything longitudinal is about these kind of distances, and its cross section you'll have like this. You'll have its cross section, and these kind of distances are basically what we talk about as the transverse. So when you talk about BMT, we talked about during healing, what is the changes occurring, right? During healing, what are how this M moves, all those things I have described only for healing. So we are dealing with BMT here. These are values that range from about, for a ship, usually it's like 4 meters or to something like 6-8 meters. This is basically the distance of BMT. Then this is BML, means when we are considering trimming. When we are considering trimming, we talk about it is a position of B here and the position of M in the position of M of the longitudinal distance in the, it will be seen in the front view, in this view. I am going to that in detail, so I am not going into it right now. This longitudinal BM, which is called BML, is like of the order of 80 meters and that kind of, means it is of the order of ship's length. This is of the order of ship's breadth. BMT is of the order of ship's breadth, which is like 4 meters to 8 meters. The BML is of the order of ship's length, which is like, it depends on the ship, 50 to 80 meters. So if you want to find the BMT for this problem, I want to find BMT. How will you find? It is obviously IT by del. Okay, this will give you the BMT, will give you IT divided by L. And you have just found IT. You have found IT by using this method. You added the 30 meter power 4 and you got the total IT about this center line. You got the total transverse metacentric second moment of area, the second moment of area of about the center line or the longitudinal axis. That is BMT. So that from that you got IT, and del is the total volume. Total volume is the volume we found out in the first part of the problem. You found out the total volume. You found out the total volume and then you found out KB. Okay, so KB we don't need here. So you take that volume del, put it here. You will get IT divided by del will give you BMT. That will give you the moment. Will give you the transverse metacentric radius. Okay, that is that problem. Slightly big problem. Now I think we'll move into some theory. Problem is over. Let's do some. We'll move into the other text. Let us see. Okay. Now, there are some things which we need to take before we move into that. Some small things which needs to be taken care of. Okay, let's do this. Now, okay. Now, we know that when a body is floating in water, and if we add a small weight to it, let's say its weight will increase by this much. Delta is the weight of the ship. I added some weight to it, and let's assume that the weight increased by so much, which is basically the weight of the thing added. So basically the weight of the ship increased by so much. This will be equal to the weight of the additional fluid of water displaced, which will be given by rho of water, area of water into delta T. of that point. If delta t is the amount by which this, let's assume that delta t is the distance by which the draft increased. When I put a weight on the ship, delta t is the distance by which the draft increased. And let us assume delta t is very small, so that the water plane area in the top region and bottom region of that delta t is fairly same. Therefore, the water plane area is AW. So water plane area into delta t will give you delta W, delta V, the volume, and multiplied by the density of water will give you the weight of the body added. It is equal to the weight of the body added. So this you get. Now let us assume we put that the ship sank. This is basically the sinking of the ship. So let us assume the draft is increased by so much, means the ship has sunk like that. So this is the amount by which it is increased. Let us assume that delta t is 1 centimeter. Okay, if delta t is 1 centimeter, this basically I'll write as 1 by 100 meter. So this will become delta, this thing is equal to rho w AW by 100. This becomes the weight required to produce 1 centimeter immersion for that particular configuration. For that particular configuration of the ship or the this thing which we have, basically the weight required to produce 1 centimeter immersion is basically delta W. Now that the weight required to produce 1 centimeter immersion, we usually use a word called TPC, tons per centimeter immersion. Tons per centimeter immersion, which is TPC. Now, this tons per centimeter immersion is a property of the ship itself. After the ship is built, tons per centimeter immersion becomes a property of the ship, which means that tons per centimeter immersion can be plotted as a function of draft. As the draft of the ship keeps on changing, its tons per centimeter immersion will keep on changing. So this tons per centimeter immersion is also a hydrostatic particular. Now we can always draw like this. You know, always we draw curves like this. That is, as a function of this, you have to remember, please remember it. This is usually asked in interviews and all that. These are hydrostatic curves. Hydrostatic curves. These hydrostatic curves are basically drawn between usually drawn between the draft and the hydrostatic particular we are interested in. For instance, you can put all the form coefficients here. Like I can have a value for a curve for CB. CB will look like this. Then what is it? CM can look like this. Remember CB is a block coefficient, CM is a midship section coefficient, and all those different coefficients of form CP, it all looks in different types. I'm not going to ask you the different curves, but you have to know what is a hydrostatic curve and what are the things you plot. You plot hydrostatic particulars on a hydrostatic curve against the draft in meter. So as the draft increases, this CM changes. So that variability is shown by a hydrostatic curve. It can be all this. This TPC is also a hydrostatic thing. It will also look like this. Some curve which is also hydrostatic particular. Then, so this is known as a hydrostatic curve. That you have to know. What is a hydrostatic curve? Then we'll come back to this later. Then we go into what is slightly very important, not slightly. So some theory coming up. So we talk about what is known as a statical stability curve. statical stability curve. Okay, so these are basically one type of curve. Let's see. Before that, let's take a look at something else, something related to this. Let us assume that we have a ship like this. It's one type of, it's just designed like this. Stability curve, this thing. Then here you have B0. Here you have G, let's say. G is the center of gravity. And this is your initial water line, W0, L0. Then let us assume that the ship heels by a small angle. Let's say wind acted. So a wind acted and the ship heeled by a small angle like this into W phi L phi. This is its final position, W phi L phi. It has heeled by an angle phi. And then, so when it heeled, it means that B0 moved to B phi. And from B phi, I draw a vertical which hits here at the meta center M. Okay, this we know. Now, suppose I draw, now what is our final state now? We see that the final state is such that this G, the vertical, the weight is acting here at G, vertical delta, and at the center of buoyancy, the delta itself, which upthrust, which is equal to the weight acting, is acting upwards, and therefore the distance between these two, so basically this delta into the distance between these two is the restoring moment. So as you can see here, note here, there is because of this position of weights, a moment is produced in this fashion. So a moment is produced in this fashion. It tends to turn the ship back in the same position, and it is equal to the value of that moment will be equal to this delta. Delta, both are same delta. So delta into the distance between them, perpendicular distance between them. So I drop a perpendicular from G onto this line, and that is Z. Remember one thing, these terms are not used interchangeably. You cannot use B for gravity, just like that you cannot use Z for anything else. It is used to produce this point GZ, and this GZ is known as the righting arm. So as it is, this GZ word cannot be used for anything else. Z cannot be used for anything else. G cannot be used except for the center of gravity. So G is the center of gravity, Z is the position of that perpendicular. So this GZ produces is known as the righting arm or the righting lever. It is the righting arm or the righting lever, and that is GZ. And then a couple of things we can do. We can extend this a little. This is the point K. From here, suppose I draw a perpendicular onto this. This is known as N. This is usually drawn like this. Okay. So there is an importance for this Kn in this. This Kn produces a set of curves. I am coming into that in the later section. In one of the chapters, this comes up. Kn is used in the formation of what we call as Kn curves, and these curves are called as the cross curves of stability. Cross curves of stability. Kn curves are called the cross curves of stability. So you can see a couple of things directly or easily from here. You can see that the GZ is equal to Kn minus Kg sine phi. This Kn is equal to GZ, this is GZ, plus this distance. This distance is equal to Kg sine phi. This angle is phi. This angle is phi, this angle is phi, this angle is phi, all these angles are phi because it's of the symmetry of the system. So once you have that, so delta, so you get This formula is generally used for many things. I just want you to remember this formula for the time being. That is Gz is equal to Kn minus Kg sin phi, and Kn curves, usually these Kn's, where is it? These Kn's are drawn as a function of displacement volume, means delta del, and it gets a series of curves like this. We will explain this later. I'm not going into this right now, leave that. But these are called Kn curves. These curves looks like this for different heel angles. For different heel angles, this Kn curve looks like this, and that they are known as a Kn curves. Just remember that word in the back of your mind always, that cross curves of stability. They are known as the cross curves of stability, and it can be got from this Kg sin phi. We are going to do a bit of that kind of mathematics in the probably in the next or the chapter after that. For the time being, you just use this. Now we need to learn about the statical stability curve. That is the important curve. So as we have seen, as we see in this figure, as the ship heels, okay, as the heeling keeps on increasing, the B phi also keeps on moving, and the GZ, GZ also keeps on changing. So as the heeling increases, the GZ changes, increases or decreases, whatever happens, it changes. The change is plotted in a curve known as the GZ curve. This is a very important thing. I can assure you, everybody will ask this question, what is draw the GZ curve? This is a standard problem in all the interviews, comprehensive vivas. You are sure to face this question. So I suggest you really study this. So the curve for most of the ships will look like this. Now what is this? This is basically this is GZ, the righting arm, and this is heel angle in degrees. Heel angle, and this is the GZ. It goes like this. Now there are a couple of interesting things associated with this GZ curve. Now this is known as the statical stability curve also. This is known as the statical stability curve or the GZ curve, always known in that fashion. Now what we can do is, let us take, oh, I shouldn't have removed that figure. There is a interesting thing you can see from that. Now let us assume that this, I'm drawing a slope here. What should I say? What is it called? Tangent. I'm drawing a tangent here. So let us assume that this angle of the tangent is alpha. Then you will see that tan alpha at phi equal to 0. So the tan alpha at phi equal to 0 will come like this. dgz by d phi. Basically same thing, dy by dx. dy by dx is equal to tan theta. The slope of the curve is equal to tan theta. Slope of any curve is equal to tan theta at that point, and it is also equal to dy by dx. Here y is gz, and x is phi. This is phi degree radians. Okay, 5 degrees, not radians, 5 degrees. So dgz by d phi. Now I shouldn't have removed this, but there was a simple. Let's look at this figure. The same figure that I drew last time. one simple thing comes up there. So this is like this. This is the vertical. This is the initial water line, WL. This is the final water line, W5 L5. The B went to here. B I draw from there a perpendicular. It hits here at the meta center M. Here you have G. Here you have B0. This is B5. Now from this from G, if I draw a perpendicular, this is Z. Okay, and similarly now this is GM. As you know, this angle is phi. So GZ is equal to GM sine phi. Just look at this. GZ is equal to GM sine phi. Okay, this is perpendicular. That figure doesn't look good, but it is actually perpendicular because, as I told you, we are drawing a we are finding the lever arm. To get the lever arm, we have to draw a perpendicular from G to Z. G to this line. That perpendicular is Z. Perpendicular where it hits is Z. So this angle is phi, and therefore we get the formula GZ is equal to GM sine phi. You have to remember these things are true only for very small angles. Now the matter of what is a small angle is something less than 5 degrees, probably about 5 to 10 degrees. Okay, beyond that you have to make some other way of doing it. So we'll take this dGZ by d phi. So I'm going to write this again. Tan okay. Then basically you have tan alpha, slope of the curve, which means the slope of the curve at phi equal to 0. This is phi equal to 0. So slope of the curve at phi equal to 0 is equal to dy by dx, dgz by d phi at phi equal to 0 is equal to d by d phi of gz is equal to gm sine phi at phi equal to 0 is equal to gm cos 0 plus 0 sine 0 0 sine 0 0. That's why I'm putting this second term as 0. This is equal to gm. So what you're getting is that the slope of the curve here, okay, at phi equal to 0, the slope of the curve is equal to gm divided by 1. I would say gm divided by 1. It is gm. Okay. Now we can do one slide to find out the gm using some graphical methods. We can try some trick here. See, this is what we have. What we have is that tan alpha. Okay, tan alpha is this one. Tan alpha is equal to gm divided by 1. So if I have gm and if I have this one, let us assume 1 radian. So at this point, if I take a distance of 1 radian, and I draw a perpendicular there, okay, and from the origin, that is phi equal to 0, I draw a tangent to the slope, tangent to the curve at phi equal to, when they meet here, what do you think this distance will be? It's a very small tricky thing. It is gm. It will be gm because this distance is 1 radian. This distance is gm. So gm by 1 is equal to tan alpha. Slope of the curve. So slope of the curve is equal to gm. It's gm itself. So there is a way. So if you have the GZ curve, okay, if you have the GZ curve and you take a distance of 1 radian, that is because in these kind of calculations, you know, in mathematics, you do not use 1 degree.
Heel angle is in degree, right?
That's what I was about to say. Usually heel angle is given in degrees, but when you do mathematics, like say when you are multiplying two things, you do not usually use degrees. You use radians. So when you do that, you can take one. It is always like that. I'm not just you know, using it for this purpose. It's done every kind of mathematics you do. You work with 1 radians. So when you take 1 radians, which is actually equal to about 57 degrees, 57.3 degrees, at that 1 degree radian, if you draw a perpendicular upwards, and similarly, if you draw a line from the origin as a tangent to this curve, they will two intersect at a point which will be equal to GM. Or you can do one thing also. You can draw this perpendicular. If you know the GM, take that point. From there, you draw a straight line connecting it to the origin. That will be a tangent to this curve. Two ways. You go forward and you go backwards. Same thing. So this is how you get the GM from the statical stability curve. Please go and read it carefully. I understand we have covered. Yes.
So can you explain this once again?
Which one?
The GM part, how to calculate GM from this stability curve.
Yes.
Statical.
See, we have got that tan alpha at phi equal to 0. That is important. Tan alpha is the slope of the curve at phi equal to 0 at the origin. That is tan alpha. Tan alpha is equal to usually dy by dx. Okay, it is equal to the y coordinate in front of it divided by the x coordinate. Means it's the opposite divided by the adjacent, right? That is how you get the tangent of alpha. So if you put the opposite as GM and the adjacent one, the adjoining distance as 1 radian, this tan alpha will become GM divided by 1 radian, which is equal to GM. That is the only way you can take. You cannot take it as GM by 1 degree. We do not use degrees and radians in that fashion in mathematics. Not in mathematics, in anything. We don't deal with degrees in that fashion. We deal with radians. So when you do that, if I take this distance, if I take this point, at this point you have tan alpha, which is the slope of the curve at phi equal to 0. If I take a distance here GM, the opposite distance as GM, and the adjacent distance as 1 radian, okay, then you can draw this first. You can draw this at 1 radian, you can draw a GM here, and you will get a point. You will get GM some point. Connect that GM to the center. That will be a tangent to this curve at phi equal to 0. 1 point, one way of looking at it, that is equal to phi equal to 0. There is one way of looking at it. Or if you draw a tangent from here, it will hit it somewhere. This 1 radian, that if you draw a perpendicular from 1 radian, this slope, if you have drawn a tangent properly, the tangent will hit at a point which will be equal to GM. That is the other way around. So two things, you go forward and backwards, you will see this happening. Actually, what I do usually in the class is to make you draw this. So some classes in that sense, we'll have to skip. So if you draw it, it becomes very clear what you're really trying to do here. So basically, it's just this. Now, there are other ways also. You can take here half a radian. Okay, I'm just saying this. This is not done in practice. I'm just telling you, just so that you might understand this better. You can take this as half radian, and if I take here a distance as GM by 2, okay, then also you will get the same thing. It's just the same thing. It is the same ratio. These are two similar triangles. GM by 2. If this is 1 radian, then this is a half radian. You can do it like this. You can do it a GM by 4, which is equal to 1 by 4 radian. And the ratio between that will again give this. And when you connect that point to the origin, it will again give you the tangent to that slope at that point. It will give you the tangent to that curve at that point, phi equal to 0. So any of these is a better method, but the method is what is done in practice is to take GM. Take GM and connect it to the origin. That will give you the tangent to the curve. So that is what it is. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
So what? You can study. I think it will be okay. So I think I'll stop here. Now we have a bit to cover. Tomorrow we'll take, and then Friday we'll have to take anyway. I think we'll need, last we missed two classes, means 2 days. So I want to take 2 days this week. So 1 day today, 1 tomorrow, 1 Friday. One more, can you give me one more time? 1 more 2 hours. Any time. Actually, I am quite flexible in this time. There's no thing. Like any time. We probably, what is more comfortable to you might be during early morning or night or whatever it is. It's something like that. Give me a time. For 1.5 hours, you give me. Wednesday at 7 o'clock evening. Friday anyway I'm taking. Friday from 2 to 3:30.
Next week Friday.
Next week I am not sure, but I think next week Puja holidays are starting. I am not sure actually. Let's finish off this week. What is that? That two classes. Let's finish that 2 classes this week itself maybe. So just give me. Can you make it on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock maybe? 7 to 8:30. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Sir, we have NSO on Wednesday at around that time.
Sir, before
There
that
is
we are
the
busy.
NSO has done fitness.
Can you take it at 8 p.m.?
Hello, sir.
So you can take it at 7:30.
Okay. 7:30 is fine.
No, sir. Can you please shift it to 8?
8. Yes, sir. 8 will be fine.
8 to 9:30.
Yes,
Okay, sir.
Okay.
No,
That
sir.
will I do.
Okay. I have no problems. 8 to
No, sir.
9:30. Eh?
Sir, in this week we have lot of works and many quizzes and
What?
assignments. Sir, in this week we have lot of works.
No. You have to tell me some time.
Oh,
Yes, fine.
I'm fine with 8. 8 is okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to put it on. So you will have a class today, which you have now. Tomorrow, the usual time. Wednesday at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9:30, and on Friday 2 to 3:30. Okay, and I'll make up for all the things that I've missed, all the classes I missed. Okay.
Friday morning.
Okay.
Yes, sir. What about Friday morning?
Friday mornings, these people were saying there was some class last time. Friday morning, somebody has class, I think.
Additional classes.
Wednesday 8 o'clock is fine. Wednesday 8 to
Yes.
9:30. Okay.